Morning guys, it's Saturday morning, 11:30. It's about 3 million degrees out here at the moment. It's ridiculous. It's cooking. So I'm not going to be out here long, but I want to just talk about this 500 Classic. But I've just been out on it. I've been at McDonald's to get breakfast. Seemed like a good idea. At a well-known seaside town. I know we've got pussycats chasing about again. I think all my videos are going to have cats in, I think. But yeah, so anyway, and I saw the funniest thing that I've seen for a long time at McDonald's. I was come outside and sat outside with my coffee. When I got there, I parked next to a 1290 Super Duke. I don't know whose it was just parked there. So I parked next to it, got my coffee, sat outside. Anyway, after a little while, this old guy came out. And I mean, he was seriously old. I mean, he was taking little tiny steps, shuffling along. And I thought, and he got biker gear, and he was carrying a helmet. And I thought, and I looked, and there was a scooter parked there, a little 50cc scooter with L plates on it. And I thought, well, fair play if he's still riding that. Anyway, he came out, and he aimed towards my bike. Anyway, he stood there and he was looking at it thoughtfully for a bit. Stood there for a couple of minutes looking at it, looked round it. And then he looked round to see if he could find the owner. Well, he spotted me. So I said, hello. And he said, oh, hello. And he was seriously old. He got little gold half-rim glasses on. A little whiskery moustache and that. And I got talking to him. Lovely bloke. Lovely bloke. Dennis his name is, I think. Anyway, I said, nice day for it, isn't it? And he said, oh, it's a bit too hot for me, but I thought I'd better make an effort and come out. And I said, which one's your bike then? And he said, oh, the 1290. And I thought, really? Anyway, it turned out he was 82 years old. And I thought, if you're riding a 1290 at 82 years old, he deserves an OBE or something, doesn't he? You know, I mean, you know, it's like, it's some crazy sort of situation. Anyway, he's going on about, oh, I don't ride fast now, and you know, them days are long gone, and I'm sensible, and I said, yeah, I said, you've got to be a bit careful when you get to your age, I expect, you know, you don't want to be taking a fall, do you? And he said, no, you don't. Anyway, he got kitted up, pressed the button, and away this Super Duke roared. It got a pipe on it. So I'm thinking, oh, I can't believe I'm looking at this. But anyway, he nodded, and I waved, and he pulled away, picked the front wheel up, and wheeled it to the whole of the end of the car park to the gate. And I just sat there, absolutely agog. I mean, if that's riding sensibly, he must have been a real hooligan back in the day. But fair play to that man. So Dennis, if you ever watch this, you know, fair play to you. Anyway, going back to this, because I do diverge. This is my classic 350. It's not a Bullet, because a Bullet is a separate model. And I'm going to get into arguments over this, I'm sure I know I will. Because there's somebody on a well-known channel that says they're bullets. Well, they're not bullets, because when this came out, they did a Bullet with the same engine, and the styling's different. The front mudguard, the rear mudguard, the seat, various things are different. And that was a Bullet. It says Bullet on the side panel, on the toolbox. This is a classic 500, which is not the same. It's not quite the same. It's the same running gear, but it's styled differently. So yeah. So we'll get that out of the way. Anyway, I bought this brand new during COVID, then the lockdown, because somebody announced that Royal Enfield were no longer going to make the 500, and I was quite surprised by that, and I thought, I'm going to need to look into that, because that may not be right. I can't believe that they're just going to pack it up. Anyway, I got into the press releases and Royal Enfield's website, and I thought, oh my God, they are. Well, if I don't buy one of these now, I'm not going to get one, am I? And I quite fancied one then. And this isn't the first Indian Royal Enfield new one I bought. And I thought, well, I looked at the colour schemes that were available, and there was the classic chrome like this, but in green, and green's my favourite colour. Don't ask me why, but it is dark green. And the difference between black and the dark green in out of sunlight is you can't really tell the difference, but out in sunlight you can definitely see it's dark green. Well, that's what I wanted, so off I went to the dealers in 2020. Got there, of course it was all locked down, and the shop was all sort of railed off, and you could only just get inside the door, and that was where as far as you could go. You couldn't walk around the showroom, and everybody's got masks on, and it was a disaster. So I said to the guy, I said, look, what I want is a classic 500 chrome in green. He said, I haven't got one. And I said, well, have any of the other dealers got any? He said, I'll check for you. And he went in the office and he got hold of Royal Enfield, and Royal Enfield said that we've checked our dealership stocks and there is no green ones left. So he's come back, told me, and I said, so what are my options then? He said, well, the only one I've got is this one, the black one. Identical bike, but it's just black. And there was no demonstrators because they sold all them. This really was the last knockings of it. So I thought, well, he said, I've got two dealers that are hassling me for this because they've sold out and they can sell this immediately. So I said, well, go on then, I better have it then. So I went up there on a bike, so I couldn't ride it back, and they had to PDI it anyway. And they delivered it, and I thought, oh my God, what have I done? It's a brand new Royal Enfield India. I don't know what their quality's like. I've heard horrendous tales about their stuff. But I thought, oh, I bought it now, so don't keep moaning about it. You bought it, nobody made you buy it. Nobody held a gun to your head and said you had to have it, did you? So if you don't like it, it's down to you, isn't it? You bought it. So anyway, so I got this and I went off for a little bit of a ride on it to run it in. And I thought, oh, I don't know. This is a bit vibey, and it was vibey when it was new. And then I looked it up online. Everybody said, oh yeah, they get better when they get run in. So I thought, well, I've got to run it in anyway. So anyway, I did. I ran it in carefully and stuck to the speeds that they recommended, and did my oil change at the time and all the rest of it through it. Anyway, as the running in carried on, it did get smoother. So I thought, well, I'll put some bar end mirrors on it. And I don't know, because it wouldn't go in my van at the time. I had a Transit Connect, but a short wheelbase one, so it wouldn't go in there with the mirrors on. And I thought, I don't want to keep unscrewing them, I'll bugger the threads up in the end. So I put these bar end mirrors on, but to get these on, and these were only cheap ones, I had to take the bar end weights off, because they wouldn't go on. And I thought, oh, it's going to be a disaster with them. It was actually a lot smoother without the bar end weights on, which is amazing. So yeah, they're alright, they do the job. But I have got the Mickey Mouse mirrors, as the all year motorcyclists call them. I could put them back on. I haven't put blanking plugs in the holes. I mean, they're still open, but fill up nicely with water in the rain. Mileage, what have I done? 5,760. Well, don't forget, I've got 15 bikes, and there was 1 year I was so busy at work that I didn't ride this at all. Not for a whole year, because I just did not have time. But I'm using it now, anyway, let's talk about the bike. Never mind what I've done, what I'm doing, and when I got it. But anyway, that's how I got it. I do all my own servicing, all my own maintenance and everything. You can see it's got Hitchcock's silencer on it. I couldn't be doing with that big bazooka of a thing they put on there. It was so quiet, it was just, it stifled it. And you'll probably see, the camera might pick it up, it's actually discoloured quite badly. And I can tell you when that happened. I was working away in Peterborough. I'm in the Ipswich area, so it's about 110 miles to get there. And normally I go up on a Sunday, stop the night, ready for Monday morning for work, depending on what site we're working on. But anyway, I thought, I'm not going to go up there Sunday, I've got too many things to do at home. I'll go up Monday morning, get up nice and early and go for it. So the alarm clock went off, I never heard it, woke up really late like you do, panic, cup of tea, quick cup of tea, and away we go. And the journey up there is A14 and A1M to get up there. And I thought, well, which bike am I going to take? Mind you, I'd got the Interceptor by then, and I'd got both the classic 350 Reborns. And I thought, well, they're all being run in, so I can't take these. Not for a sprint like that. I'll take this. And now, before I get any further than that, I've geared it up. I geared it up and put a 19-tooth gearbox sprocket on it, which was great. I liked it. It was really tall geared. But I remember having to go somewhere, and it was a headwind, and the uphill bits. It couldn't really cope with that amount of teeth, so I dropped it down a tooth, and it's down to an 18. It's one more than standard, and it suits it a treat. It's absolutely lovely like that. It's long-legged. Anyway, now, so I set off on the Monday morning amongst all the traffic, and I held this bike at 85 miles an hour all the way to Peterborough. That's 110 miles. That was flat out all the way. I couldn't be late, and I wasn't late. And I could feel something touching my leg when I got near Peterborough, my left hand leg. And I quick looked down, and the battery was coming away from the bike, and I thought, ooh, so I kept my leg against it and got to work. I'd lost the battery cover. That was the only casualty. I lost the battery cover because it had a stupid little plastic sort of lock on it, which didn't actually do anything much, just held it on there. So I ordered another one, a genuine one, turned up in a genuine Royal Enfield bag, went to put it on. It had a chrome one on there, but they didn't have a chrome one in stock, so I got a black one. And if you can look, you can see that the battery is actually longer than that cover's wide. So I've had to slice a lump off it, sacrifice it, just to get it on. And I bought the Hitchcock's conversion, which is a big lock nut and everything. That ain't going to come off. So that stayed on there, but it never missed a beat, and it was just ticking over at the other end. Lovely. It wasn't extremely hot or anything. And I mean, 85 mile an hour. That's marching along for a bit. Yeah, obviously when I rode it home again, I didn't ride it quite that hard, but it will cruise at 70 all day until you're thoroughly bored with it, which I don't get thoroughly bored with it, but it would do if you did get bored. It will sit at 70 because it's geared up, and I think that's a testament to it, because you know, I thought, well, if it was going to fail, it would have failed then. But it was quite happy at 70. It didn't feel stressed. I don't cruise it at 70, I'll cruise it about 60, depending on what roads I go on, but it will do motorways and all sorts. About a month ago I was working down in Brighton. It's 133 miles from Ipswich to Brighton, and I rode this down there, filled the tank up right to the neck, rode down there. I thought, I'm not going to hack it down there, so I went down there about 60, 65. And the route is A12, M25, Dartford Crossing, M25 again, M23, A23. Then you're in Hove, which is where we're working. Anyway, I stayed down there for the week while I did this work, and thought, right, I better fill up with petrol before I come back home, because I've ridden down here 133 miles. I went to the local petrol station, and I got exactly 5 litres in, and it was just about overflowing. So it's 133 miles on 5 litres of petrol, which works out about 80 miles to the gallon. For a 500, it's a bit more like it, isn't it? So yeah, like I say, it really handles, because it's a Harris design frame. Harris Performance, Royal Enfield bought them out, and they designed the frame for this, and it really handles really well, better than it ever deserves to do. It came from the factory with Avon Road Rider tyres, which I'm a great fan of. I like Avon tyres, and I try and buy them whenever I can. I know they're moving out of their original works this year, I think, and they're going abroad, so God knows what we're going to get then. But you know, as a bike, I shan't be parting with this anytime soon. It's just a great bike. Yeah. Now what we got? This is a 500 Bullet. It's what the iconic thing that Royal Enfield are renowned for making. I mean, they made this since, I don't know, 54. Not the 500. They didn't make the 500 till a bit later, but the 350, which is identical. They made it. Well, it's the longest running motorcycle in production, the Bullet, and this is a proper Bullet. Like I say, it's 500. Now, it's a crude old bike in its own way. You don't get any frills with it. It does what it's supposed to do. It doesn't handle quite as well as the UCE one. But then again, it's still in a 1955 frame, isn't it? You know, well, their version of it. It's never changed, so of course you can get around corners and stuff like that with it, but you're not going to crank it about like this one. You're not. But this one, it's not as cheap to run because it's carburetted instead of fuel injected like the other one is. It's got a 4-speed box, 1 up, 3 down. And half a dozen neutrals if you want them. But it's all part of its charm, they say. The guy that I got this off put softer springs on it, on the front and on the rear, because his wife says it was a bit too crashy for her, and it's too soft. It is too soft. I mean, you grab a handful of front brake and it nosedives terrible. But it is what it is. I've got all the stuff that he took off, all the springs for the rear shocks, springs for the front forks, and it's going to get put back to pretty much standard, because there's not much wrong with the standard springing. Bit hard, bit firm, but not as soft as this. It did have electric starter on it, but the previous owner had a Sprag clutch go, so he had it replaced under warranty because he bought the bike new. And then a little while later, it went again, and he gave up after that, after buying one. And now it's kickstart only, but it's a first kickstarter every time. You just choose your roads. I mean, you've got square tyres on the back. Look, they're Avon Speedmaster on the back, and it's a Chenxing on the front, which is a bit dubious, but there we are. I expect, I don't know how old that tyre is on the front, but the tyres, the back tyre's fine, but the front tyre doesn't inspire confidence. And I do like Avon tyres, so I'll probably replace them at some point. So yeah, that's a 500 Bullet. They're not a huge amount of horsepower, I don't know, 25, is it, something like that maybe. But it starts first kick, hot or cold. The guy put this Hitchcock's pipe on, which is rusted spectacularly, but I have used it quite a lot. The quality of these is not like them. You know, this is what they always made, and somebody says you never put your helmet and your gloves on until you've got it started. Well, I think that's a bit unfair, because this one does start first kick pretty much every time. It's part of its charm. People like to see you lunging away in a car park on an old British bike, don't they? But yeah, it's just called the Silver Bullet. Couldn't think of anything else to call it, really. It's a Silver Bullet. And there's a saying in it, one man's silver bullet or something. I can't remember how it goes now. It's probably quite rude, but there we are. But yeah, it's a different bike. It's great to ride on the back roads. I like it. It's quite torquey. You know, you can just, it'll pull from no revs at all. You know, just in top gear it will just clonk away. Got the neutral finder on the gearbox, which does work. in any gear apart from first, like they're designed to. It's basic maintenance really. They didn't want a lot. What's oil changes, a filter now and then, tap its clearance is adjusted, which you do in there. That's where the adjusters are. So yeah, the guy put Hitchcock's pipe on it, but he didn't reject the carburetor in it. It was paralytically weak. So as you can see, it's blew the downpipe. So I rejected the car, bought new jets for it, and it looks like this is splitting now. I can see cracks in that, and that'll be an air leak, so I'll have to order another one of them. Yeah, it's just a great bike. It's got indicators on it. The Indian chrome is not fantastic in this era. This is a 2002. You know, I mean, the rear wheel rims are starting to get speckly, you know, but you can put up with that. I mean, I've got new Enfield back wheels and, well, wheels and rims and everything, so I've got plenty of rims. I'm not bothered about them and I do ride this all year round, this one. It goes the winter and so I've got a 350 as well, which I do ride in the winter, because that's got a fairing and panniers. You can probably see it in my header photograph on my channel, but yeah, I like it. It's great. You're not going to set the world on fire, but then again, on greasy old roads in the winter, you don't want anything too powerful, do you? It hasn't got any modes. It's got run and stop. They're the only modes it's got. But like I say, I've had 75 out of it, and I thought if I go any faster, that'll be a job for the blacksmith. You know, he'll have to try and pull it back together, because it's something's going to let go. It's not happy at them sort of speeds. It's out of its comfort zone. But this one just gets smoother and smoother and smoother and smoother the faster you go. You know, there's no blurring in the mirrors. Bits aren't now dropping off it. It's a huge improvement over that one. And I enjoyed both of these a lot. You know, they're just great. So I don't know what else to tell you about them really. The coil for the Interceptor Mark II hasn't turned up yet again, so that's not moving forward, that project. I thought, well, I'll get a couple of bullet, well no, not a couple of bullet, I'll get a classic and a bullet out. And I'm going to get shot down in flames for that. Oh, it's a bullet! It's a bullet! Oh, it's a classic. It says so on the side of it, it's a classic, but it doesn't say anything about being a bullet. Well, this one says bullet! So I'm not going to argue with anybody over this. It's what it is. This has got Royal Enfield on the little cover underneath the headlight. I mean, these are filthy dirty because they've been used for work and I haven't got around to cleaning them. And this one's got EI, which is Enfield India. So yeah, I mean, it's doesn't make any difference, does it? But that's the two that I've got out for you today. I'm going to buy a GoPro 7, I think, because I hear that they're quite good. I don't know anything about digital cameras. I mean, if you know what I should be buying that's got good quality, because I'm on a different camera at the moment, but it's only a newer version of the one I had, which my son has lent me. It's supposed to have higher quality, but we'll see when I download it on my computer how good it is. But hopefully the audio will be a bit clearer, because the audio on the Meteor Miner video in the bullet frame I did, when I started it up, it doesn't sound like that in real life, but the camera picks up every bit of row for the engine. You can hear the exhaust at all, but in real life you don't hear it like that. My hearing's good. Eh? Yeah, it is, it's good. Right, anyway, I am absolutely baking here. I'm going indoors, I'm going to have a cold drink. It's too hot to do anything, it's even too hot to go out on bikes. It's like I say, you could melt steel today, it's just that hot. So, hope you've enjoyed it. It's just another video, but I will get a helmet cam sorted out and I can get out and ride these. I do ride them, but you don't see it. and I can't be doing with just stationary looking at things. I mean, what's the point? They're just stationary things. You might as well go to a museum, aren't you? So you've got to be out and about riding, and I'll show you some of the Suffolk countryside and the sights and things I've seen a million times before, but you probably haven't. So we've got some good roads around here, but like I say, you can't go east because we are east, not unless you ride in the sea, and I expect that the electrics will have something to say about it on that one. But anyway, there we are. Thanks for dropping by. Leave a like if you like it. You don't have to. You can subscribe if and you'll get notifications of whatever I put up. I mean, put something on. I've got plenty to go at. I only started on the non-Royal Enfield bikes yet. But yeah, two old lovelies. Thanks for dropping by. See you on the next one. Bye bye.